Grew up Irish Catholic?
Oh, yeah. My dad was a really big Catholic boy. And he forced me to go to Catholic school, and he forced me to go to be an altar boy. And the biggest fight I ever saw my parents have is Valley of the Dolls was playing a Sunday morning. They were airing the movie at 10 o'clock, and I begged my mother to stay home and watch it, and she loved that movie, and I had never seen it. And she said, okay, you can. And my father was like, no, you aren't. You're going to church. So those two had a big, which would really become the template of my career, Valley of the Dolls and Catholicism. Somehow I made them mesh, but boy, did they go at it. But I loved being an altar boy, you know. I loved it.
Are you still a Catholic?
I'm a lapsed Catholic. I don't necessarily believe in Catholicism, but I believe in the storytelling aspect of Catholicism.
Do you go to church?
I go to church on special occasions. I pray every day to what is my view of what a God is, you know. But I don't go to church that often, no.
Is it hard to be gay and Catholic?
It's very hard to be growing up and to people and for you to know who you are and for people to constantly be telling you that there's something wrong with you. But I remember when I was growing up, they also did that about women. And I remember calling my father out when I was 7, telling him I was disappointed because he wasn't a feminist. And he was furious with me. And I didn't really even know what that meant. But sort of, you know, I figured out that they were all wrong and that God would love me no matter what. That's what my view of God was. So, yeah.
When did you come out to your folks?
I didn't come out to them. I was busted by them. I was 15 and I started this. I got a call out of the blue from this guy who was 22, and I picked up. My mother put him on. His name was Drew Benson. I still love him to this day. And I had a thing with him. You know, your first love, and he drove a Corvette and had a fishing boat, and we used to drive around and go to car washes while he would play Sailing by Christopher Cross on 8-track, and I thought it was so glamorous. And he would write me these little innocuous Hallmark cards, and I was away at camp, and my father picked me up, and I thought somebody had died. And he drove me home, and my mother was waiting, and there was a big talk, and she said, we know what you're doing. We know you're seeing Drew. You start 3 times a week therapy tomorrow. We've sold your car, and you're grounded for the rest of the summer. Do you have any questions? So I was devastated. And I would swan around the backyard in my robe and smoke and be really depressed. And I never got to see Drew again to this day. That was it. Young love ripped apart. But he was a waiter at a steakhouse, and I used to go to the steakhouse sort of 6 months later and beg to be put in his section. And I would sit there waiting for him to come and wait on me, but he wouldn't come up because apparently my mother threatened him with a restraining order or something. So, yeah. And I got this really great therapist who, after sort of a couple weeks, called him in and said, your son is very smart, and this is who he is, and you either accept him and love him or lose him. It's up to you. Which was very forward-thinking for Indiana at the time, 1982. So I sort of remember driving home in complete silence, and they really didn't speak to me for a week or 2 weeks. But then they kind of like warmed up, and it just became the thing that they had to endure, I think, for a while. But you know, I don't blame them. There was really no education. They were worried about me. I think, looking back, I think they were probably more worried that the person that I was dating at 15 was so much older than me. And I think if I had a child, I would feel the same fear.